the joy of giving. We saw previously when the children of Israel were coming through the wilderness that God gave Moses the pattern for the tabernacle, and that it was in the hands of the children of Israel to give those things which were necessary for the construction of the tabernacle. When the word went out, they found out that actually there was enough and then some to get the work done. Amen. So it was with a joy that they gave unto the building of the tabernacle. The tabernacle was portable, mobile, and so it moved with them as they journeyed through the wilderness for the years that they did. But when, upon entering the promised land, the tabernacle remained through the time of Joshua leading them into the promised land, through the times of the judges, even into the reign of the first king of Israel, King Saul. But God purposed that he had a man after his own heart by the name of David, that he would elevate to be king over his people. And so God anointed David to be king. Upon the passing of Saul and David became king, David made Jerusalem the capital of the nation of Israel. And it entered one day into the heart of David to build a more permanent structure, a temple unto the Lord, a house unto the Lord that would be befitting of the greatness of the God of Israel. Amen. While it entered into David's heart to do so, yet God determined that David would not be the one to build the house, but that David's son Solomon would build the house unto the Lord. And yet this did not deter David. So 1 Chronicles chapter 29. I'm going to eventually get over to verse 18, but let's start with verse 1 of 1 Chronicles 29. David begins to then make preparation. Though he would not be the one to build it, yet he began to make the preparations for the building. The chronicler here in 1 Chronicles chapter 29 then writes to give us the overview, the overarching view of how David approached this responsibility. That it was not simply something that he took haphazardly, but he took it seriously. Amen. And he prepared Solomon for the work to be done. He gave Solomon the pattern, the design for the temple. He gave Solomon instructions for the priests and the Levites, the singers, the porters, anybody that would come in contact with the tabernacle. David, through the inspiration of God, gave to Solomon the instructions. But not only did he give the instructions to Solomon, he also talked to the people. He talked to the congregation, if you will. So in chapter 29, verse 1, it begins, "Furthermore, David, the king, said unto all the congregation, Solomon my son, who alone God hath chosen, is yet young and tender, and the work is great. For the palace is not for man, but for the Lord God. Now I have prepared with all my might for the house of my God, the gold for things to be made of gold, and the silver for things of silver, the brass for things of brass, and iron for things of iron, and wood for things of wood, onyx stones, stones to be set, and glistening stones, and of divers colors, and all manner of precious stones and marble stones in abundance. In abundance." Let's pause for 1 second. And you heard me say this when we were talking about the tabernacle, but it applies also to the building of the temple. And it applies to us as the children of God who have been given the responsibility to take care of the things of God, by which those things that God has already given to us. So God has given us the means to do what He's called us to do. Amen? Amen. It is a disconnect. The term stingy Christian. I can't find it anywhere. Now you can find stingy. So when you look at the dictionary, you will find that the word stingy basically means that it's somebody that has the means to do it, but doesn't have the will to do it. That's stingy. Jesus talked about a stingy man once over in the Gospels. Y'all remember a man who fared sumptuously. The Bible says he had it going on. He was rolling. And there was a beggar who sat at the gate every day. Just wanted some crumbs. But this rich man was rolling so that he didn't have time to even allow crumbs to be given. Well, now, death called both of them. And the Bible said this, now the rich man died. And when he noticed where he wasn't in a good place. It was a place of torment, a place of agony and anguish. I said, now when the poor man died, said the angels came and escorted him into the presence of the Lord. Now, during the days of that man's existence, it's interesting in the way that Jesus put it forth, that man never complained. Even though he didn't have much, but he did complain. And he didn't go out and steal. And he didn't do anything that would cause any negativity other than he just sat there by the gate, asked for help. Well, the man who had been living large on the earth found himself in a place where now he desires. It's so hot where he is. He wants the man that's up there with the Lord to come in and dip his finger in some water and put it on his scorching tongue. He's so in trouble and in torment. But he didn't think about that while he was rolling. In other words, he was stingy. He was stingy. But now, he's in need. Well, the issue is this, church. Everything that we have, God gave it to us. I knew I was going to give it somebody. Paul writes this in 1 Timothy 6 and 7. For we brought nothing. N-O-T-H-I-N-G. We brought nothing into this world. And it is certain. C-E-R-T-A-I-N. It ain't no joke. You will not take it with you when God calls. I get tickled sometimes when folks talk about what's mine. Man, that's mine, that's mine, that's mine, that's mine. But you know what? The day will come. It's going to belong to somebody else. So then David, in his preparation, he says, I prepared with all my might. Not just the minimal that I can get away with. Because there's some of y'all in here today. Amen. There's some folk in here today, you do just enough to say that you met the minimum me, moreover, because I have set my affection. When you give, it has to be from your heart. It has to be because you have some attachment to that which you are giving unto. There are some folk, they give just to get folk out of their way. That's not real giving. When you give and you mean it from your heart, you're connected to that which you are investing in. To the house of my God, I have, watch this now, don't miss this. I have of mine own proper good of gold, silver, which I have given to the house of my God over and above all that I have prepared for the holy house. This is what David says and shares with us today, church. Now, some folk would look at David's preparation and look at it and say, well, he was supposed to do that because it was his vision and he was a king. That's how they were rationalized. And so as a king, you have access to a whole lot of resources. David puts it on record. It wasn't just the things that by virtue of me being the king, but my own personal stuff. See, I gave unto the Lord that which could nobody else give unto the Lord. There are certain things that, okay, let's say money. You can give money. Those who have a job, you make money, you can give money. But there are some things that you can give unto the Lord that can't nobody else give. Those things are specific to you. And so now, when you think about all of what God has done in your life, where God has brought you from, through all the trials and tribulations, through all the sleepless nights, through all of the things you went through on your job, and yet God sustained you on your job, through all of your children misbehaving when you were trying to make them do the right thing, through all of what God has brought you through, there's something you ought to be able to give God that can't nobody else give God. Your praise is not something that anybody can duplicate. So when you think of the goodness of Jesus and all He's done for you, ain't nobody tell it like you can tell it, but the Lord has done for you. God witnessing you. You gotta let me testify about what the Lord has done for me. You gotta testify and say what God has done for you. I know where the Lord brought me from. So I don't have to wait for nobody to press a button that says praise time. Now when I learned how to praise the Lord, I went in the house all by myself. You know, last Sunday I went to with y'all. But don't get it twisted. Me and the Lord had a good time with one another. Every now and then, God will get you all by yourself. And God will talk to you. Won't He? God will talk to you. God is going to open your mind and help you to see what He's doing in your life. And glory be to God. Y'all went on without me. Shout about that, church. Shout about it. Because one of these mornings, and we don't know when it'll be, somebody else will have to stand here and proclaim what thus says the Lord. You gotta want to hear what God gotta say. You gotta come. You gotta come. Because you want to hear from the Lord. Well, David said, now look, y'all, now don't twist the thing. I gave him my own stuff for the house of the Lord. And then in verse 5, he asks this question, the last clause of verse 5. He says there to the people, who then is willing to consecrate his service this day unto the Lord? Who's willing? That's a question, y'all. willing to consecrate this day his service unto the Lord. Then the chiefs of the fathers and the princes of the tribes, they answered and they offered how? Willingly. Willingly. When you give, and you give with joy, you have to give willingly. Not with strings attached. I'm so glad that Sister Catherine prefaced the sermon today so that y'all know it wasn't set up on my part. Here's the part. She said she was happy to come to a church where it's not a give me, get kind of thing. That if you want a blessing, bring $20 and drop. Not in the Bible. Y'all ever wonder why when the deacons come and receive offering on Sundays, they never prod you and pry you to bring anything other than what you decided to bring? You ever wonder why you have never heard of it? Say, brother and sister, now let it dig a little deeper. Y'all ever wonder why they don't do that? They have learned in their personal experience with God. Amen. If you give God your best, and trust God, He will be your best. God has a way, God. Whatever you pray, God will bless it. And when God bless it, God said, I rebuke the devourer for your sake. All the stuff that trying to eat up your resources, I'll take it away. When you give with it. Now, verse 8, they with whom precious stones were found gave them to the treasure of the house of the Lord. Verse 9, then the people rejoiced for that they offered willingly. So there's a joy when we do what we do for the Lord, and we do it from our heart. You don't have to look cross at anybody else. Just know you're giving God your best. Watch this. And in the latter part, David the king also rejoiced with great joy. When the leader can lead in such a way that then the people understand this is God's way to do it. Amen. This is no quick get rich scheme. There's some days you have not a lack, but there is a need. And you just need God to meet the need. And God comes through and meets the need. Well, then we ought to learn how to trust God. And sometimes just God allows us to have to ease that He can prove us. Therefore, wherefore David blessed the Lord where? Before all the congregation. In the presence of all the people, David began to rejoice and shout unto the Lord. Well, now, he then goes to talking to God. Verse 11, and then I'll move right rapidly. Verse 11. 9. Oh, Lord. Well, let me go back to verse 10. David blessed the Lord before all the congregation, and David said, Blessed be thou, Lord God of Israel, our Father. Well, y'all right now. Thine, O Lord, is the greatness, and the power, and the glory, and the victory, and the majesty, for all that is in the heaven and in the earth is thine. Thine is the kingdom, O Lord, and thou art exalted as head above all. Both riches and honor come of thee, and thou reignest over all. And in thine hand is power and might, and in thine hand it is to make great and to give strength unto all. Now therefore, our God, we thank thee and praise thy glorious name. But who am I? And what is my people that we should be able to offer so willingly after this sort? For all things come of thee, and of thine own have we given thee. For we are strangers before thee and sojourners, as were all our fathers. Our days on the earth are as a shadow, and there is none abide. That's David's way of saying you're going to leave that stuff. Oh Lord, our God, all this store that we have prepared to build thee an house for thine holy name cometh of thine hand, and is all thine own. I know also, my God, that thou triest the heart, and hast pleasure in uprightness. As for me and the uprightness of mine heart, I have willingly offered all these things. And now I have seen with joy thy people, which are present here, to offer willingly unto thee. Verse 18 and close. O Lord God of Abraham, Isaac, and of Israel, our fathers, keep this forever in the imagination of the thoughts of the heart of thy people, and prepare their heart unto thee. Here's what he says, church. Lord, touch their hearts in such a way that this ain't a one-time thing.
Yes, sir.
See y'all next Sunday. That's it.
Yes, sir.
Lord, touch their hearts in such a way that they understand that this ain't a one-time thing. But every time they get a chance, they got to give you their best, and whatever they do in life, it's always, Lord, in their mind and in their heart. They got to give you their best in every aspect of life. Not just a one-time. There's some folk, they'll do it one time.
Yes, sir.
But then the next time, they're back to grumbling.
Yes, sir.
Back to complaining. They want to know what you did with the one they already gave.
Yes, sir.
But when